Hello, I am Shannon Brogdon-Grantham, the photograph and paper conservator at the Smithsonian's Museum Conservation Institute, which is a research center for the Smithsonian Institution. Today, I will be sharing tips on how to safely examine, document, and preserve your photographs, papers, and books, and maximize your experience with your professional reviewer. So, let's get started. First, let's discuss the different types of paper, photo, and book treasures that you may have in your personal collection. Most, if not all of us, have at least one photograph, and the types of photographs that you have could include family photos, framed photos, photos in albums, and other photos that might be tucked away elsewhere, like in a scrapbook or a letter. Since we all have so much paper, identifying the types of paper treasures you might have could be a little tricky. Some examples that come to mind could include your child's artwork, a fine art collection of prints, drawings, and watercolors, correspondence such as letters and cards, newspaper clippings, and diplomas and certificates. To use a personal example, growing up, I was extremely close to my great-aunt Nanny, and when I graduated from high school, she placed a handwritten note inside of one of my graduation gifts. Here, you can see that I have kept this little note over all of these years as a way to remember and stay connected to her. Finally, the types of book treasures you have could include photo albums, scrapbooks, first edition and rare books, notebooks, journals, and yearbooks. Another example from my collection is this notebook that belonged to my father. Now, let's talk about how to examine and document your treasures. First, you'll want to start with a pair of clean, dry, lotion-free hands. In the museum, we usually wear gloves like these nitrile gloves here when we examine objects, but I have found that in certain situations, and especially when working with my own personal treasures, I'm better equipped with a pair of clean, dry, lotion-free hands. The next thing you'll need is a clean, flat workspace, preferably a table or desk, that has plenty of room for you to examine your treasure and take notes about it. I recommend examining one treasure at a time so you can ensure to record your notes accurately and avoid losing track of things. But in some instances, you might have a group of materials such as a letter that contains photographs that you'll want to examine together because you want to maintain their context and history as you take notes. For note-taking, you should have a paper and a pencil. Avoid using ink pens because the ink could transfer to your object. The National Museum of African American History and Culture has this great note-taking worksheet that you can download from the website and use to guide the notes that you'll want to record. A few important things or notes to consider documenting for your treasure are what type of object it is, when was it made or created, and who it belongs or belonged to. For example, if it's a photograph of people, who are the people in the image? Where was the photograph taken? It is best to record any information that you know about your treasure and what you would want someone to know about it and its history. When handling photographs, paper, and books, I recommend cradling them to ensure that your hands are not touching the image or text area and that you are supporting any areas that might be weak or fragile. It's best to handle things as minimally as possible and only when needed. Specifically for books or photo albums, I recommend placing a support between the cover of the book when you open it to begin examining it. This will minimize the stress placed on the spine of the book, which can cause damage. And finally, to share a personal example of how to best store your photographs and photo albums, I can show you how I'm storing a group of snapshots in a photo album that belonged to my grandmother. As you can see with this photo album, it is fragile and has pages that are torn, so I decided to place the album in this storage box where it can be protected and placed neatly on a bookshelf. For the photographs, I've placed them in individual polyester sleeves, which allow for me to view them and handle them without worrying about touching their surfaces. I hope that what I've shared with you will help you examine, document, and preserve your photographs, papers, and books to ensure your family's legacy, values, memory, and storied history can be shared for generations to come. Before I wrap things up, here are a few tips to help you prepare for your virtual treasures reviewer meeting. You must use a camera-enabled device. You must be in a well-lit room so our reviewers can see your treasure. They won't be able to review and provide feedback on your treasure without proper lighting. Speak in a loud and clear voice so our reviewers can hear everything that you're saying clearly. And finally, make sure there's no other background noise playing. Turn off any televisions or radios that are nearby and close any windows. Stay tuned for more amazing programming highlighting the storied history of the Gullah community on Daufuskie Island. And thank you as always for your continued support of Na'Mok's Hometown Treasures initiative.